everyone, welcome back. My name is Kelly and this is the Diva Den, where I like to talk all things home. So today I wanted to share some small tips that I have used in the past for organizing some of my Christmas decorations. I have always struggled with how to store my wreaths. I do have quite a few wreaths that I use outside, and I have some that I use inside, but I've always struggled with how to store them. So a couple of years ago, I came up with this solution, and it seems to work really well for me. So I thought I would share that with you. And then a couple of other little tips that I use for my beads, or you can use it for your lights, to store your lights, or to store ribbons, whatever. A simple little trick. And another trick that I use for my garland. I have a long staircase that I use, and I put garland on it with the white lights on it, and I'll give you a quick little tip on that one as well on how I store them. So let's jump right in with tip number one on how I store my wreaths. So as I mentioned, I have struggled on how to store my wreaths. I have a fair number of them, whether it's Christmas, Halloween, fall time. I have a fair number of wreaths, and I've always struggled with how to store them. I've done the thing in the garage where, you know, my husband put a nail on a board in the garage and I hung them up there, or I've stacked them in the basement on top of the boxes of my decorations for that season. And this never worked. They'd either get crushed or they were getting terribly dusty and dirty all the time. And it was really disheartening. So this year, I have decided to try something different, and I think it's really going to work. So I went out and I purchased one of these clothing racks from IKEA. I think it was $12.99. Not expensive at all. So, and it's very easy to put together. I know, you're thinking IKEA, yikes. This is one of those things that went together in a snap. So then the other thing I thought, how should I hang my wreaths on here? Well, check this out. I decided to use wire hangers, you know, the hangers that you have lying around the house from when your clothes come back from the dry cleaner, and some pipe cleaners. And this is how I'm going to secure my wreaths to the hangers and then simply hang them on the clothing rack. So let me show you what I've done. So here's one of my wreaths that I use at Halloween time. I love this wreath. I made it a few years ago. I got the frame from Michael's after the Halloween season, so it was on clearance, and I think it cost me maybe $3. And what's really cool is it's not green, it's black, so I love that. And then the rest of it was just from the dollar store, and of course I made my bow for the middle. So I love this. So I want to keep it looking nice. So what I've done is, with some pipe cleaners, let's see if you can see those, I have attached it to the wreath frame to the hanger. So I just strung them on and secured them, and now they're hanging. But I don't want to just simply hang it up, because that defeats the purpose. It's still going to get dusty and it's still going to get bashed around. So another household item that you have lying around, garbage bags. I poked a hole in the top for the hanger to go through, slide it over, and now my wreath is going to stay dust-free and secure from being crushed and all that kind of awful stuff. Now, with bigger wreaths, these little white bags won't cover them, so I'll have to use a green garbage bag. And so I would know what was in each bag. I mean, this will be pretty obvious. I can see the orange bow through this and the little spider. But for some of the Christmas ones, what I've done is I've just taken a tag from the dollar store, secured and written on it what it is. So this is going to be Halloween. Then I've put a little curling ribbon through it, and then I just loop it over the hanger, and it hangs outside so I can see what it is. Now it'll go on my clothing rack, and to really make sure that it stays dust free, you can just tie off the ends. with the handles. And there you go. Now my Halloween wreath is secure. It's going to stay dust free. It won't get damaged. And I'll know exactly what wreath this is because I have it labeled. Pretty cool, huh? I think this is going to work really well. So as I mentioned, I have another one. This is a Christmas wreath, and as you can see, it's a lot bigger than my Halloween wreath. So the white garbage bag wasn't going to work, so I had to use a green one. But everything was the same. I took a wire hanger, I took some pipe cleaners, secured the wreath, put the garbage bag over, got my little tag that tells me what wreath this is, and actually I put where it goes, and now I can hang it on. And there you go. Now my wreath is hanging, and it's going to be nice and clean come next year when I need to use it. I got a few more wreaths to do, so I better get cracking. But I like this system. I'm really happy. I think it's going to work. Now another issue I've had for years is on my garland I have beads and I have lights and all that kind of pretty stuff, all the nice sparkly pretty stuff. And you know, for a few years I would just, well, you get tired at the end of the season, right? And you're taking it all down, and I would just take off the beads and I would just throw them in a box, be done with it. And then the next year I would come to put it all up and it's all in a matted mess, and I'd pull and the string would break. Ugh, you know, I'd have to go buy more. Nobody needs that. So a couple of years ago, again, just a simple solution, and it wasn't rocket science because this is the way they came, and I thought, why don't I just do this after when I'm putting them away? So let me show you what I've done. So usually when you get beads, they come on some cardboard just like this, but sometimes you have to rip it apart and you can never use it again. So I had my husband cut some flaps off some boxes, and now I have a way to store my beads that's going to keep them secure and tangle free until the next time I have to use them. I don't know, sometimes the simplest things come to us at the silliest times, but I don't know why I didn't think of this years ago. But there you go. So you don't need anything really fancy. A simple flap of cardboard from a box works just as well. And now I have all my beads nicely stored. Now the last thing I did in order to store my beads and some of the flowers that I put on my garland, I had this pretty box lying around. I don't even know where I got it. It's just this nice little decorative box. And it was just sitting there gathering dust. So it now stores all my things for my garland. I have my beads in there. Don't know if you can see that. I have my beads, I have my gold ones, some other red ones, all on their cardboard. And then some of my pretty poinsettia flowers that I use. These were just from the dollar store. And they'll all fit in there so they won't all get crushed. Just close the flap. And there you go. And again, I took one of my dollar store tags. I just wrote on it what is in this box, attached it, and there I have my garland decoration for next year. And it'll be easy to find. It'll stay secure, and I just put it on top of the box where I keep my garland. So again, something simple. Just check your house. You probably have lots of stuff lying around that you could use. But this worked really well for me, and I'm really pleased with it. Okay, another tip I wanted to share with you has to do with the way I store my garland. As I mentioned, I have this box that I've had for years, just this red and green box. I don't even remember where I got it from, but this is where I put all my garland. And once again, I have put just a tag on the front that tells me what's in this. I've used this box for so many years. I already know what's in there, but sometimes when my husband's cleaning the basement, I like him to know what's in here so he doesn't throw anything out unnecessarily. So in here I have my garlands that I use for my stair railings on the inside of my house. Plus I bought these 2 new ones this year just from the dollar store that I've used on top of my cabinets in my kitchen. So I've decided to store them in here as well. I also put in here these really cool ties that help me secure my garland to my railing. And what is really neat is they're rubber and they have an open end, and then the other end just pulls through, and you can pull it as tight as you need to secure the garland. But what is really neat about these is because of the material they're made out of, the rubber, they won't damage your wood banisters. So we just had new wood banisters put in about a year ago, and we were a little worried about my garland scratching, but I don't have that problem because now I have these, and I've used these for years, but these help protect when I secure the garlands to the railings. They don't damage my railings, so I'm really happy with that. Now the other thing I wanted to share with you is, and this happened so many times, I would put my garland on my stairs only to get to the end and go to plug in the timer and discover I had the wrong end where the timer was. My garland has lights on it, and I would put it on only to get to the end and discover I had it reversed. So a couple of years ago I came up with this solution for myself, and there's probably some of you sitting there going, yeah, why didn't you think of that sooner? Well, I finally clued in, and all I've done is each year is I put a little tag on the end that tells me what end of the garland this is. So I'll know next year when I take out my garland that this end is my banister end, and to me that means it goes at the bottom of the stairs, not the top where the timer is. So this is a good little trick. If any of you have suffered like I have with this problem, use this trick. Just label the end. It takes a second to do, and then you're all set. You only have to label one end because you only need to know which end is which. And then you're all done and you're all set for the next year. Just squish it in. You have to fluff it up next year anyway, so if they get a little squishy, that's okay. But they won't get dusty this way. They'll stay secure. I'll know where they are, and I'm all set for next year. When this bin comes up, I can open it up and I can see what end of the garland I'm dealing with. So I'm really happy with this one. Well, I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. I think my Christmas decor is really going to be organized this year. It's going to stay dust-free and damage-free. I'm loving the box for my beads. And of course my garland has always been in that red and green box, but I'm really happy that I remembered to label the end this year again. So I'm really liking this system. But I'd love to know in the comments below, do you have a special way to store maybe your wreaths or beads or ribbons or your garland? I'm always interested to know how other people store their stuff. Everybody's different, and I'm sure there's some really good ideas out there. But for now, I think this is going to work for me. But let me know in the comments below if you have any other ideas too. I'd love to know. So if you like this video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and you'll subscribe to that red button below before you go. I'd love to have you become a diva and join the family. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a fabulous week. Bye, you guys.